Can we talk about how I am still fully adjusting to being a cat mom? Maybe we'll get into it. Hi, you guys. My name is Hillary. If this is your first time here, this is a very unscripted, unplanned YouTube channel. I have just been wanting to express myself, and that has showed up in the form of YouTube video talking. One of my favorite creators on here actually recently said, like, I have stacks and stacks of journals and I use them, but sometimes I need to turn my camera on and just speak into the void, and to, you know what I mean, and to being just like, I need to just turn my camera on and talk. So the first part of this whole video series was about 3 weeks ago, and I had every intention actually posting like the week after, and then I was like, okay, we can do 2 weeks later. And then, you know, life just gets so busy sometimes. My life is so full and rich and juicy with all the things, and there are moments where I'm just like, I don't want to do anything, so I honor that. So I have a little bit of time. I actually have to leave soon, but I did want to pop in here and come back with a video. I'm trying out different seating. I'm actually sitting on my yoga blocks right now. This is kind of like what's going on. Like, and I actually considered filming from this POV, but then I also thought, isn't it more personable to be able to see me up close, or to at least appear as though I'm looking at you and not like, I don't know. You guys can give me some feedback. I'm open. We're playing here, but this is also my house. My artwork is back there, my cat tower. There is some decor back here, but just really nothing is going on with that. The cats like to jump any fucking where that they can. I have this little situation here where there's artwork, tools and supplies in here, as well as the bottom with some nail stuff, because I every now and then do my own mani-pedis, and then just some items that I like to fill the space with, smell-wise, some smudging items, candles and whatnot. So that's what's going on in my home in this area. I love having a studio. Let me actually turn this back around, but not so close. There we go. I actually love having a studio. It feels like I have to be so very intentional with my space and really get to know how I live as a being in the space. And I knew that with this apartment, I wanted to live in it before I just filled it up with a bunch of stuff. And that is what I did not do in my first apartment. I had a 1-bedroom apartment in Phoenix, and I got this luxury place, and I just started filling it up with stuff. And it was a really cute place, and it was going in a really great direction. But then I realized I really hated Phoenix. So all of those things I got rid of for the most part. A lot of those things got rid of. So with this space, I just knew, let me just live in it. I've never lived in a studio before, and I just kind of want to see how I move, you know, in it. And we really don't need a lot of space. We, as in humans, we really don't. You know, we are such, we believe that we need all these things, and I like things, but we don't really need them. So having not as much storage in here does help me to be conscious about things I purchase, things that I put in here. I don't want a house just full of stuff. I don't like little trinkets and all. No, I like very functional things. So anyway, did I introduce myself? I think I did, but I think I did introduce myself. There was another video I made, and I just did not introduce myself, not one bit. And I was like, what if this is someone's first time meeting you? So yeah, anyway, if this is your first time here, welcome. Once again, I was kind of sharing how I'm just taking my time with coming back to YouTube, but I'm also not over curating what I talk about on here and how it shows up. I just want to show up for myself, not necessarily for anything else other than myself. I feel we are in a time where being mysterious is like the cool thing to do. And all I can do is be a millennial who talks too much. All I can do is be a millennial who talks too much, maybe shares a little bit more than, you know, some other people are comfortable with, but that's all I can do, you know? And that's where I'm at. I just, you know, I like to talk. I don't know what's happening here. Most of my life now consists of me trying to figure out what the hell is going on with these cats. Learning what are these sounds, what are these movements, what are these things? We'll get into it. Before I was talking about cats and before I got, they were just kind of like, here's the other one. Say hi, mama. Before I was talking about my cats, I was talking about how, yeah, I just like to talk sometimes. And I don't always want to have to exchange in a conversation. I do like having conversations with people. I think I can carry a conversation well. And I do love to learn information about people, but I don't always want to have to do that. So I don't need to really explain myself. Sometimes I want to pull my camera up and just be here. So that's what this YouTube channel is about right now. About these cats, there's just so much of me that I just don't understand cat behavior, cat language. And it hasn't really been long. So I guess I do owe myself the grace of, you know, still learning them, and they're still learning me, their behaviors and what they're trying to communicate to me, eating habits, playful patterns, sleeping stuff, like all the things. And, you know, what's normal, what's not normal. There's just so many things to learn. I really do feel like, okay, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to compare myself to a mother who just had a baby. I'm not doing that. But it feels very like uncharted territory. It is uncharted territory for me because I've never had a cat before. And there are people who have had cats all their lives, and they're like, you know, this is easy. This is light work. What do you mean? Da 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 da. And I'm just like, this feels like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I just don't want to be a lazy cat mom where I just am just like, well, as long as I keep them alive, you know, I'm not trying to do that. I do want to be attuned to their needs and individually, like what they need and all the things. But, you know, it's just being a cat mom. I'm having to learn a lot. I'm having to learn a lot, not only about them, but myself, my capacity, my patience, so many things, what kind of food they like, different textures, why one eats way more than the other and the other one doesn't seem to eat enough. You know, it's just so many things. So one thing I'm going to do is get myself some cat insurance and take them to the vet. I've had them since it was like the end of January, top of February, one of those. So it really hasn't been that long, but they had just gotten their shots and vet checkup before I had adopted them. But I'm gonna do my due diligence and do that myself and, you know, all of that. So they're not even a year old yet. And I'll have them for as long as they are here. And that can look like a decade and some change. And a lot of change, actually. So I have plenty of time to, you know, be on this journey to learn them and like figure this thing out. But I'm still like in the very like early, you know, stages of having a pet for the first time without any assistance. So I recently got a tattoo. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. And I just love her so much. I love her so much. It says truth. I don't remember what year this was, but every now and then I download something that I want on my body. It's a way to like express yourself. It is language with your own body. And I say it was a download because this is not something I was like searching on the internet. It was not something that I was like, oh, what could I put right here? I actually never saw myself with a tattoo on my chest, but it was a download that I had received that came to me that I would get true or truth here, somewhere in this space. You know, I thought about here, but then, you know, because the throat chakra, like that was what this was about, was the throat chakra, this center here. But, you know, it's in this general area. So I actually really love the location I chose. And I also knew that I couldn't really put anything here just based on what I do for work with my uniform. Even this sometimes shows depending on what top I wear. So I have to do my job of like covering it up because I'm not supposed to have a tattoo like up here. But anyway, the way that I live my life now versus the way that I feel I have showed up previously is just so different. I feel so much more free to speak my truth. And there was just so many years where I felt afraid. I think fear was at the root of a lot of it as to like why I didn't speak my truth. I am a product of lots of childhood trauma. And when you feel that, when you grow up and you feel that you do not have a voice and that your voice does not matter, and not only does your voice not matter, your emotions do not matter and your emotions are policed, that really affects how you are as an adult and how you relate to not only other people, but to yourself. And so I spent a lot of years lying to myself and living not in alignment, which brings me to today. And I finally feel so, like I feel alleviated from that space. A lot of healing and addressing wounds has taken place to get me to this point. It wasn't just like this one day where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna start telling the truth now. Like that was not it. Like that, has taken work. It has taken so much work. I think about the years that I felt very suppressed in speaking my truth and in living my truth, and how I was able to push that down, push it down. Like, how was I able to exist in a way that didn't feel true to me? And I know that there's so many reasons maybe for that, so many ways that was able to be, but there is no reality in where I see that now. I don't even see how I was able to show up in that way, because now it's very hard for me to not speak and live my truth. It is so hard for me to not. And just because someone is telling the truth, I also think that sometimes people use it as a way to avoid maybe their harshness and the harm that they cause. So I'm still very aware of that, because that's not ever my intention, is to cause harm in my truth, but also knowing that it could exist. But my truth is really for me. Like, it is majority, like it is for me, you know, and when it comes to the way that I live and in what I say, but it is for me. And it is not because I'm going around telling everybody about themselves. Like, that is not how I'm using this. And that's not how I, downloaded like, truth on my chest or anything like that. So it is more so about an embodiment of where I am today versus like where I was yesterday. So I know that was a whole lot of words, but yeah, I was like, the day that it happened, it was actually not even planned. And it had been something I thought of maybe like 2 years ago, but it had not been something that I was just like, let me run and go get it, especially because when it came to me, again, I had not ever envisioned myself getting a tattoo on my chest. And so I think when I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, like on my, like here, like forward facing like that, it felt like what? And, yeah, the weekend that it happened, we were getting piercings, my girl and I, and we were supposed to go get piercings the same day, but she kind of was like, she was like on the fence, so she didn't get it. So I still ended up getting my doff pierced that day. And then the next day, like, she was just like, oh, it's so cute, it's so cute. And she kept, you know, because she was driving and so she could see it. And I'm like, like, you know, I'm obsessed, she's obsessed. And so she's like, let's go back tomorrow. So we went back the next day and she got her septum pierced, not her septum, her tragus pierced. And so when we went, she was getting her tragus pierced. I was like, I just feel called to get a tattoo. It's like, you know, I just feel called. I just feel like, let's do it, you know, let's go. So she got her tragus and then I just inquired about a small tattoo, and yeah, I just went ahead and did it. And I love it. I love it. I'm just so obsessed. I'm obsessed with the location. I'm obsessed with what it says, the meaning to me. I don't feel the need to like explain it to anyone. Yeah, I feel like this is the container that I feel like talking about it in, and that's just that. So I didn't like rush and tell anybody. I didn't like, you know, go off calling people like, oh, look what I got. I didn't even post it on Instagram. I haven't even posted about it. I haven't shared it on any other social media platform. So it's very like personal to me, but it's also like, you can't help but to see it depending on what I wear. So yeah, I feel like it doesn't even come with a whole lot of explaining. I feel like people will probably see it and not really have many questions for it. You know, it just is what it is, right? And every tattoo doesn't have to mean something. Every tattoo doesn't have to be so serious. I actually do plan to get more work on my arm and neck that comes down, and it ain't gonna mean shit. It's just gonna be aesthetic. So yeah, that's what I have going on. I guess that's just what kind of came up and I felt like talking about. So there will be more videos where, yeah, I just come and talk about whatever's going on with me. I feel good about popping in. I'm definitely interested in engaging. You know, I'm curious about who my videos will attract. I have not posted or promoted this on any of my pages. I haven't told people on my Instagram, specifically not on my Instagram, because you know how it is. We've heard it all before when it comes to Instagram, and the people who are on Instagram is only people
from high school and people who do not engage, they just watch your stuff. People on Facebook, it's just all family or people from the church
or whatever, you know, and it's just like, I am not going to promote my YouTube videos in those spaces because that is not my audience. That is not my audience. Like, some of them are obviously going to find themselves here, but I really just want to start fresh. I don't care if I do not get views on this page. I really want my videos to find who they find. Like, that's that. I'm not here to like blow up. I'm not here to like get all these views, clicks, and likes. You know what I mean? I have a very low pressure approach to doing this. It almost feels like proof of life type of content that maybe one day when I'm like 72 and I'm sitting in my garden and I'm looking back. You know, we don't really do picture albums anymore, but I will have a YouTube page to look back at and to observe this version of myself and witness like where I was, how I felt, and all the things. So this feels very much so like a documentation journey for me, for me. So yeah, I hope this finds you well. And I'm definitely interested in engaging with those who find themselves resonating with things that I talk about here. Hit me up. Like, hit me up in whichever way feels comfortable. Questions, comments, leave them in the comment section. You can hit me up on Instagram. You can DM me personally. Email, you can email me, but I'm not too pressed about checking the emails because I don't even think I have that email connected to my... Anyway, you can email me. Maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. But yeah, I'm interested in engaging with you guys. I'm not like, you know, I love that. I love engaging with people. So I would definitely love to know like who my audience is and just connect in whichever way, you know, feels comfortable and safe for everybody. I know parasocial relationships are, you know, they're a little tricky. They're a little tricky. Especially with this type of content, when you expose more of yourself. That is one thing I have learned over the years, is that when you share aspects of yourself with the world, people feel really not just connected to you, but they feel entitled to you and information about your life. That's the scary part, you know? That's the scary part. And I want to be so clear for all of us, myself included, that we are not entitled to people's information and to what's going on with them. I understand when people like share personal things, but we've got to have some self boundaries and receive whatever it is that they share with us, you know? I remember seeing stuff like online about like, oh, when we get to see your happy relationship and then when it's over and you don't tell us nothing, it's like, dang, I kind of feel like you owe us like telling us what happened. Like, you know, there's a part of me that really gets it. There's a nosy part of me that I get it. I get why that's the sentiment, but ultimately we're not owed that information, and you just kind of got to let that die inside, you know, like kind of got to just let it die. It's a terrible feeling, like, damn, you may never know, but it is what it is, you know? So yeah, that's a clear boundary that I feel like I would love to, you know, practice like straight away, you know? I think I'm doing really well with that actually, because sometimes I get DMs and comments and things like that on Instagram, specifically more from men. And some of the things they say, I mean, they just have the gall to say anything to you sometimes. Somebody recently told me, because I posted, what did I post? It was something about my cats? And they told me that I need to give somebody my cat so that I can have some little Hillarys. I need to give somebody some cat so that I can have, oh no, it actually said, so we can have some little Hillarys. So we, sir.
Stay out of my fucking vagina.
Stay out of my vagina. I'm sorry. It's just like the nerve. That is what I'm talking about with these parasocial relationships. Like, I do not know you. I don't. You know, like with this specific person, I knew them when I was like 16 years old. That's the last time I seen them in my life. The last time. Everything else has been an online interaction. I don't know you. I don't know you and you don't know me. Saying something like that to somebody is fucking crazy. Crazy. You are blocked from seeing my story. I should have just blocked him straight out, but I blocked him from seeing my stories. I might just end up blocking him. But anyway, I'm rambling at this point, but I hope you guys enjoy. Take care, be well, be free, be light, be true. I love you.